Hi, welcome back to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Berenice.
And I'm Ella. We're back, we're back, we're back. Right back in your ear
Yup.
holes. Berenice, how you feeling?
Can't complain. I'm living in my moment of being God's favorite daughter.
Yeah? It's funny you bring that up, actually.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more later. We're talking about
Yeah.
motivational quotes, and so that's on my list. I love that one.
Thank you. No, but I've been good. I had a solid weekend. I feel like Thanksgiving just went on forever. Thanksgiving was like 2, 3
Yeah.
weeks long. I don't understand, but it felt good. I felt very loved and appreciated by people, and I was grateful for that. It was a nice, warm feeling. I used to be depressed in the holidays, and now, yeah, I have things to look forward to. So no complaints here. How are you?
I'm good. We're back at work. Thanksgiving. Honestly, I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. I like the food. I think Thanksgiving is my favorite food by far. I had 20 people at Thanksgiving, which you think is too much. It was, but it was actually really nice. It's nice that we have that many family members alive and kicking. My boyfriend just left back to go back to Austin. We had some good quality time. So really loved that. Yeah, it was really fun. It was really nice. We did all the fun fall things. Honestly, best news is I got a haircut, okay? And
Okay.
I'm feeling it. Everyone watch this on YouTube and tell me if it's the best hair I've ever had. But I'm actually really excited for this episode, and honestly, it's early December. We all know it. December is my favorite time of year because it's right before the new year.
Oh,
And so this week we're doing something a little bit fun. Literally something I don't think we've ever done before.
yeah.
We're doing motivational quotes and like our little taglines, the things that keep us going every day.
I said favorite quotes. I don't know if some of these are motivational.
Girl, we got to get better memos. Mine are my favorite quotes that are also motivational. And motivational is subjective, okay?
It can
Things
be
that make
anything.
me put one foot in front of the other. At least that's for me. Are we excited to get ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks for your concern. I will say these quotes are honestly things we say that are my favorite.
Every now and then, you just need a little pep talk from the bestie that just gets you where you need to be. Now, sometimes some people, I like to go in different approaches. Sometimes you can hit him with the motivational quotes, or some people like it when you're a little ruder, a little more of an awakening. One time I got Ella a bracelet for her birthday, and the mantra was she believed she could, so she did. Now,
Woo!
yeah, that's beautiful. And you think we would take that like into our goals, our dreams, our aspirations. Except actually we took that as she believed she could drink this 40 in 10 minutes. So she
And hey, let me just tell you, I'm all about a rebrand, okay? So
Mhm.
that quote used to be a motivator to, do a keg stand in my past life. Now it's how many chaturangas can I do in hot yoga? Okay, she believes she did.
Well,
She believes she could, so she
so she
did.
did.
Which is, is that Shakespeare?
I don't know. I don't know, but it was a nice bracelet. I don't think Ella ever really wore it more than one time. I think she lost it. But we
I wore
we took
it,
that mantra forever.
Miss. Your Honor, objection. I wore that bracelet a lot, but I lost it. Not because I loved it so much, I wore it at
Um,
inappropriate times. And so one day I woke up and someone had stolen it off my wrist. I would have never
okay.
taken it off myself.
Okay. No, but in all reality, she believed she could, so she did. This one has just really honed in recently because, like, I think you have to be like somewhat delulu to like make it in whatever field that you want to be in. And we've talked about it in a lot of episodes. The more like delusionally you believe in yourself, the more I think you manifest and become the person that you want to be and achieve to whatever goal you're driven to. Like, there's just something so fundamentally about genuinely feeling like you can get something that you just know it's yours.
Like you have to dream it to believe it.
Oh, yeah.
In gymnastics, my gymnastics coach, she was like, you should like visualization. Like you should visualize yourself doing the routine correct perfectly over and over and over again. Because some stuff is mental. A lot of barriers are mental. Okay. It's just things you have put up in your brain. Have you ever like tried to jump on something like high and you're like, oh, I can't do it, I can't do it. And then once you do it, you can always do it. You can do it over and over and over again because your brain knows you can do it.
Yeah, your mind is a very powerful tool and thing. And I think that if you tell yourself you can't do something, then you're definitely not going to be able to. Because why would, if you don't have the belief that you can get it done, what is in your way to structurally get that together? Okay. Which I think in this one, the she believed she could, so she did. There's layers to this because sometimes I feel like some people are just set up a little bit different where they have a lot of people believe in them, that they are almost like born with this trait, that they just like they believe in themselves because they had a lot of support systems. And then there's people that don't have a lot of support systems that have to fight a little harder to believe in themselves and like get to where they need to be. But I think if you dive in full into the delusions that you can do something, that you are something, you will get there. That happened to me with like, I had imposter syndrome about like being creative, being like an artist or whatever, until more of the recent years where I just really started believing in myself. And something really beautiful happened when I started to do that is that other people started to take me like super seriously in it just because I was just practicing what I believed in myself. So if you believe it, others will believe it, and you're also setting yourself up to win by acting.
Sing the part. I love that.
Mm.
Honestly, so a couple of my motivational slash favorite quotes. I've been watching Gossip Girl, and in one of the episodes, Serena says to Blair, "Not everyone wants to be Blair Waldorf," and Blair says, "Not everyone can be," which is such a read. But in my life, I truly hope to be like aspirational to myself, hold myself to a high esteem to the point of which cannot be duplicated. There's one of a kind. Couldn't be me if you wanted to try to be. If I do something a little different, it's like, you know what? Only I could do this. So might as well just do it to it.
Not everyone can be. Yeah, we're all different types of people. You should not judge others based on who they are. Okay, we are all born with different skill sets. I see a lot of haters, to be honest, about like other people. I do like I see a lot of people hating on other people for like being cringe and free, and I'm like, let them. Your judgment on them just like for me reflects on how you feel about you and how much you think about other people's perception. Personally, I don't give a flying vagina. So if she's doing her thing and she's happy, I'm pumping her up regardless of how cringe she may appear to other people. Because why do we care? you know?
Don't put your limiting beliefs on other people. And also, I think truly in this world, it's really interesting that we judge people by our own like values and standards that we hold for ourselves as if those are universal values. I find that really interesting. Like people
Yeah,
were, I would never put myself out there like that, or I would never do X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, but
clearly.
like, why? It's like clearly, but it's like, why wouldn't you? And it's like because it doesn't align with your morals and values, which is completely fine. But it's weird that you have the expectation that everyone moves through the world the exact same way you do. Thus, your judgments are valid because only based on your own like morals, values, and beliefs. It's just such an interesting concept that people judge other people based on what they would do in their situation.
50-50. Sometimes yes, but sometimes I think it's based off the judgment that they have from others. So like I would say most of the time a lot of people are like afraid to try something because they feel like they're going to be judged by others. So they put that judgment in other people, right? So it's like a chain. where it's like,
Mm.
oh, you're just being a hater because you are afraid to do something because of the way that you're being perceived by other people. At the end of the day, you're carrying that judgment. I find people that are completely nutso and like do not give like a fuck so inspiring because they are literally the most free people I've ever seen. I'm like, and she was a fairy. Truly, like when people act out of just like pure pureness in their heart, whether that is cuckoo bananas, when I see like female rage, when I just like see someone really just say, I don't really care how I'm being perceived by anybody right now. This is just like who I am. I'm like, what a moment. What a diva.
Have you seen what's the new show? It's like the new Netflix dating show for like older people, and it's produced by Michelle Obama.
What?
The Later Daters. It's called The Later Daters. It just came out. I'm obsessed. We love it. It's like basically Golden Bachelor meets like
Love Island?
yeah, kind of. But they're not all in the same place. But essentially, it's like you follow the same characters as they like go on dates with multiple people. But there's this one woman on there where she is so authentically herself, and you can see that she's not everybody's cup of tea. But I kind of am living for that because why would you want to be everybody's cup of tea instead of just being yourself and then finding someone who vibes with you? And she does. She ends up finding two people that kind of like vibe with her, but like her first date, not so hot because they just were not on the same frequency. It's like you're not always gonna be on the same frequency as everybody, baby. So you might as well just keep going on the frequency on which you thrive on.
Yeah, you gotta be yourself. You just gotta be yourself. I don't know. I think like sometimes seeing older people does really inspire me because I think there are more themselves than most younger people when it comes to like relationships and just being like comfortable with who they are. But if you're pretending to be a certain way, one, the act will eventually, subside. Like,
Fizzle.
yeah, people are in their best behavior when you first meet them. Or I don't know, like sometimes I guess now when it comes to dating, I used to like care what I put on social media and be like, "Oh my god, he's going to see it." Like, ee. Now I'm just like if he doesn't think I'm funny, I'm not for him. Cuz I'm hilarious. Okay?
Very funny. That's almost the definition of true love is when you find someone who loves you for exactly who you are. And honestly lean into that because it's the most like fulfilling type of love is when someone loves you for who you are. And if you just start at an authentic place, maybe like me, maybe a little too real, a little too raw, and you scare off some people. But then they stick with it. You find a crazy person who sticks with it. And you're like, dang, she's actually chiller than she first came off. She came off kind of a little kooky, but I saw something in her that made me stick around.
I've had some accidental people I've dated who I put in my close friends, and it's because my close friends is just unhinged thoughts and behaviors. And when I feel comfortable, I just pop you on there. And I've ended up like dating a few people that I put in my close friends. And the thing is, I legit like talk about other dudes in there. So it's like there is really no secrets. But I feel like I feel like the perception is like she's a little rough around the edges, but like she's got a good heart.
She's got a good heart, baby.
One of my favorite quotes I have concocted, I say to myself because it's not just other people's quotes, it's our own quotes. Is I'm too pretty for this. Analyzing.
Word.
Hey, listen. Sometimes you have to analyze the situation, and you have to come to a decision whether or not you are too pretty for this situation. Okay, I,
Mm-hmm.
I and you don't have to say like pretty. You can say I'm too smart for this. I'm too loved for this situation. Like I think the first time like that genuinely came out, like as the first thing that came out of my mouth was the time where I was seeing somebody who it was supposed to be exclusive, and his girlfriend, I didn't know he had a girlfriend, comes into this hotel room and starts like beating this man up. And the first thought, like literally after I came out of like my shock factor, was I'm too pretty for this situation. Like I've never been in a situation where this was even remotely in my realm of how people treat each other, of how I want to be treated, any of it. Like I'm too pretty to be here. And I think more people should aspire to ask themselves that if you're facing a situation where you're not being treated right, where you know someone is just not meeting you where you're at, just say, I'm too pretty for this and get out.
I'm too pretty for this. I'm too smart for this. I'd say I'm too smart for this when I'm knowingly making a mistake. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I'll be the first one to say it. I do things even though I know it's the wrong thing to do sometimes. And I have to say, you know what? I am too smart to make this mistake. And sometimes you just need whatever like grounding reminder of a mantra to say, wait, you're right. I almost forgot about myself for a second. I almost got lost in the shuffle and did something that was like out of my character, morals, and values. And like, I'm too pretty for this. Yeah, that's like a grounding activity. And so is I'm too smart for this.
And if you're like a people pleaser or you get into peer pressure, another one is like the high value female. I am. I will say, sorry. I always say when people are like doing dumb shit and they want me to do it with them, I'm like, I'm a really big investment, okay? A lot of people have invested in me. I've invested a lot in myself to go down like this. I'm just not doing that.
More people should think of themselves like that. I have invested a lot of time into myself and a lot of other people. My dad always says that I am his biggest investment. He's
Yeah.
never going to get dividends, but just me thriving is the dividend, I guess.
Yeah.
People have invested in you. So it's like,
You've
however you
invested in
want to,
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, however you want to define it. I know we have like definitions of high value, but I actually really like that. It's like, hey, I'm actually high value individual. We are all high value individuals who are deserving of like life, happiness, and love.
Period. Okay. So if you put yourself to college or if you work hard for anything, like that's an investment for yourself for your future. And some situations do have to make you question, is this worth the investment I have put into myself? No. No. This is not, the risk factor is too high here. I have to go.
One of mine that I say is this how I want to meet Robert Pattinson? Anytime I'm just not feeling like myself and I'm thinking about stepping outside of the door, not looking my best, feeling my best, doing my best, I think, oh my God, today might be the day I meet Robert Pattinson. And would I want him to meet me like this? And I would be like, no, this ain't me, baby. This doesn't feel like me. And then I turn the day around. And I've been doing this anytime I just feel bad. I just think about it. I'm like, you know what? Today might be the day that I meet Robert Pattinson. And I want to make a good first impression. So I want to be my most authentic version of myself, whatever that means. Okay. And it might seem a little cuckoo bananas, but I just mean like you don't want to meet like your hero or the crush that you've had for your entire life
Mhm.
looking not like yourself.
Yeah.
This plays into another one, which Deion Sanders said, look good, play good. Good, feel good, play good. And so I really feel like anytime I'm not feeling good, I like think about Berenice being like, you know what? I just need to put on a cunty little outfit. I need to go do I need to feel good, whatever that means. Take some deep breaths, take a little bit of a walkie walk so I can play good, as in show up in my life feeling my best version of myself.
Yeah, I will say I would hire me as a life coach, okay, because I get some good ones. I always say, like, if someone is being negative about themselves or the day or whatever, I'm like, I don't know what you need to do, but go get your mood right. This isn't it. All right? Like, where's the collective? Go feel your feelings for 5 minutes, but we have shit to do today. Life is really about moving forward sometimes, okay? Not every moment. This is my probably one of my favorite quotes I've heard in the recent years, like randomly at a music festival. Not every moment will be a good moment, and this is just a bad moment. I will get past this moment. I see that. I think when you're having a bad moment, it's very easy to get caught up in the fact that like this is all a consuming emotion. But if you think about like like life is made out of a bunch of freaking moments, and you have some really good ones. Not all of them are going to be that good, but you will get past this moment.
Yes, we'll get past this moment. I kind of have that kind of relates to a couple of things. One of them's like the 10-year rule, where it's like, if I don't believe in 10 years, this will be a part of my life story or something I will still be tripping about. I just move on. Like, let's just move past the ugly part. If I do not find myself that this is going to be something I trip about in 10 years, there have been moments where I'm like, you know what? I probably am going to be upset about this moment in 10 years. There's moments in life where you're like, I'm going to be pissed about this for a while. Then it's okay to toil. But if you're gonna move past it in 10 years, let's just do that part a little quicker. And then another thing that this relates to is actually a Jane Austen quote that I think about. It's like, you must learn some of my philosophy. Think only of the past as as its remembrance gives you pleasure. Don't toil on things in your past if they're displeasing and not fun for you to think about. I've been through a lot of shit. I don't talk about it a lot. Is it because I like am hiding it in a deep dark place? No, it just doesn't bring me a lot of joy to talk about it, so I don't fucking talk about it. And instead, I have a bias for the happy moments in life. Let's say 100 things went wrong. I like to focus on the one thing that went right, and just having like a bias towards pleasure and joy. And I think that keeps me a happy person.
Okay, so I think this one relates to one of mine. It says like it's something about like the tragic irony is that life has to move forward, but it only makes sense in reverse. Like you sometimes have to like live through a bunch of things to
Mm.
happen, and then at the end it all kind of like makes sense, like why you have been through certain like situations and lessons in life for you to kind of like get to where you need to be and have all this like knowledge behind you. You know what I mean? Like, I think for me, there's been a lot of situations where I'm like, God damn it, why? Like, again? You know, like, give me 5 minutes. Like, and we had a lot of episodes like, in earlier years about rolling with the punches because they just kept coming. And now, as like a more grown adult, a lot of things just like make sense. And now I encounter a lot of situations where I have a lot of like prior knowledge where I'm like, you know, I'm grateful for those experiences because now I'm able to make better choices based on what I already know. And I'm able to give advice based on what I already know and guidance to people that are younger than me, which I actually really enjoy like mentoring people, mainly because I'm like, I don't fuck around and find out. I'll tell you what I learned from fucking around and finding out. So you don't have to.
Honestly, I try to give big sister energy to people, as many people as I can, and that's from having other people learn from my mistakes, because I don't think everyone needs to make the same mistakes that I did. I might as well pass on some of that group knowledge. Actually, I really actually adore that quote that you said. Always move forward, but everything makes sense in reverse. Something I think about a lot is, it's an Anthony Bourdain quote where he just was like, I did everything wrong until I did something that ended up being right. As in, he made so many mistakes within his life, but they all it ended putting him in the right place at the right time. And then, like, a couple of really good decisions led him to the right place he really aspired to be at when he was really lost for a lot of years. And I think about that a lot, where it's like, okay, well, all those bad things had to happen for me to be in this moment right now. That's also another reason why I don't focus on the negativity of my life, because whether something is negative of positive is kind of neutral, because at one point the worst thing that ever happened to me is now one of the best things that ever happened to me. Having one door close on me that like I was so determined to go through, when it was really like, rejection is protection.
Rejection is redirection and divine protection.
There we go. Boom, on the money. Rejection is redirection and divine protection. And so, like, every bad thing that's happened to me, I won't say every bad thing, but some of the worst things that have happened to me in my life, like, were the catalyst of where I am today. So, like, butterfly effect, we can't go back and remove all the terrible things that have happened. So, like, are they even negatives? It's just interesting how things happen, how things end up.
Yeah, and I think with that is just a lot of acceptance. We I think our the most quoted thing on this podcast is the universe whispers before it screams. Some things that reject us don't feel good. Okay, because it's like our ego being like, what? Why do they don't want me? And
Mm.
something about that before used to make me want things more. And but now I'm like trying to listen to my intuition where it's like when something rejects me and my ego starts screaming to want it more, I need to dial it back. There's a reason why something isn't for you, usually. And I've fucked around and found out enough times that the more I try it, the worse it makes me feel, the more anxiety I get, the worse situations I get into, the worse places where I'm like, I end up being like, I'm too pretty to be here several times because I'm just fighting for something that's not meant for me. And in a lot of the situations where I act myself, where I finally stand up for myself, or where I may speak, where I'm no longer keeping the peace of the collective, but for myself, I'm often met with just like not positive interactions. And there's another quote that it's like, you will never lose like anything that you speak with like pure intentions and based out of like your true kind of like love and desires and everything. And if it's met with like backlash or rejection, it's not, it's an alignment. Like you're not losing anything by speaking your truth. You're just getting aligned with something. In
Mm.
that sense, just like accepting that when things are not working out, don't fight it. See if there's a different road, see if there's a different avenue, something else that you're missing. Like life is such like a little puzzle that it's like if you try to fit something that's just not meant to be again and again and again, you're gonna take so much time figuring that one thing out where there could be just like so many other paths that you could take.
Yes, so many different paths that you can take. This really resonated to me when like I was trying to find a job where it's like with rejection happening over and over again, assuming that people have good intentions and like don't take things so personally. With the rejection thing, it's like, okay, well, I was rejected from this job, but maybe something I said made the interviewer be like, she's not going to be happy here. So it's like that's why it's like you should really authentically show up places so that people maybe help you along your journey silently. Rejection never feels good, but if you assume the best, not like, oh, these people are out to get me, they don't like me, they don't want me, it could be like, oh, actually, you said something that made them think that you wouldn't going to be happy there.
Or maybe they've just had their own experiences where they're just not at this time open for new friendships. And you trying and trying and trying may actually come out as like desperate and suspicious. you know? like, why is this person trying so hard to be my friend? Like, everybody's just like in their own journey. So, like, if it's not fitting, it's not fitting. If it's meant for you, it won't miss you. Period. One of my favorite quotes is your new life is gonna cost you your old one. Ain't that shit right? Oh my god. There's so many times where I have been stuck in like comfort places where I'm like, I love these people and I love this and blah blah blah. Where I'm like not necessarily that happy and I really do actually want to like grow and move forward. And what I learned about moving to New York was that was right. I did not keep any of my old life. It costed me my new life, but I wouldn't give that up for anything. Like I learned so many things. There was a lot of like painful interactions and things that I needed to grow from essentially. But it will, and you have to be almost like willing to like I don't want, I feel like sacrifice is just like a really intense word, but like you should be able to be willing to say, okay, if I want to take myself to the next level in my life, I have to be willing to let go of like this version of reality.
I think something you said that seems like kind of obvious, but it's like if you want everything to change, you have to change everything. You can't have like a major life shift the same if it's the same day, the same location, the same habits, the same everything. You can't expect it to be completely different. Obviously there's things you can change a little bit to have improvements, but if you're desperate for everything to change, like you have to be willing to have the discomfort of losing the security of like what you have right now.
And I'll say something I like out of like just life experience that like people that also want to grow will move with you. Maybe not at the
Uh-huh.
same speed or rate or whatever, but you will meet at some point. Like I will say like Ella and I think we have both been like besties for the resties, okay? But we've had our moments where I think we've just grown at separate rates in separate ways, But like here we are, like 4 years in this podcast, like still chit chatting, and like I see Ella and I'm like, wow, she's grown so much, like such a beautiful person.
Mhm.
And I will say, like, maybe our friendship is almost like even better than ever. I didn't know if this was like a friendship that I was gonna have for the rest of my life in certain moments in my life, but it is. And I think like people that are meant for you will stick with you. So don't be afraid to lose people.
Because some people aren't ready to move, baby.
They're not. And some people will. I've had a lot of people that maybe weren't ready to move at the time that called me like a year later. And now we're like really close and we talk all the time, and they're
Yeah.
like, there were some things that I didn't realize that you were doing that now, like far removed. I understand that you were there for me in this way and that. And I'm like,
I don't know if this is a quote per se, but if you move with the best intentions and you do the right thing, that's all you have to worry about. Sometimes people try to like worry about how their actions are going to be perceived because of, I don't know, just shit. Like the worst part about a breakup is like, oh, what are our mutual friends going to say? Da, 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 da. And it's like, well, if you just move with the best intentions, time will reveal all.
yeah, it will. And sometimes you need it to shed some things in your life. I think with my breakup, it showed me that a lot of my friendships were more, it sounds mean to say out of convenience, but I would say that like we just went to college together, we did a lot of things together, we were in the same friend groups, friends dated each other, and you're conditioned in your community. But when you're set aside or other, or you create chaos in kind of that environment, people start to show you how they really feel about you. And maybe that's something that you want to see sooner than later.
Yeah.
I have another one that I really like that kind of goes along with this is anything you're not changing, you are choosing. So if you're stuck in a
Ooh.
situation that you don't like and you're like, oh my God, every day you dread it, that is your choice. You are choosing that by not changing it.
Oof. Say it one more time.
If you are not changing it, you are choosing it, okay?
And there's so much power in your ability to make changes. Once you decide, like, you know what? I am the captain of this ship, bitch.
Yes.
There's a lot of power in that. This is like a quote I made up that's based off another quote. I am the youngest I will ever be and the hottest I've ever been. Because I believe I truly will. I will peak the day I die, bitch. Okay? That's how I feel about it. I feel like I will. Why would I want to peak in midlife? Like, hell no. So I like to believe that this is the hottest I've ever been because it will be every day after another. And like, this is the
Yeah.
youngest I'll ever be, as just as like time is fleeting. We do not know how much time we have. And I get myself in a little bit of trouble because I would rather have the experience today than the money tomorrow because like tomorrow is not promised. But all in all, I truly believe if I ever leave this earth early, like bitches know I lived my life. People will be like, she lived freely.
I have an interesting way, I guess, to look at interactions with people that I don't know if this is because I moved away from like my family when I was younger and I didn't see them for a really long time, but I really treasure the moments that I have with people. Like I truly, truly tell
Hmm.
people, express how I feel with people, make sure our interactions are positive, offer people as more reassurance of my love and friendship as I can, because I truly don't know if that is the last time I'm going to see them. And I have a lot of peas, I guess, when people have like passed away or are no longer in my life, where I'm like, I know that I showed that person the most love and understanding and communication I could at that moment in time. And so like
Hmm.
I'm at peace regardless of how that like moves forward. And I like to live my life like that. I think there's like that quote, like Ferris Bueller, very popular. Life moves really fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. There's a lot of experiences that when you're in the moment, they just go so quickly. To take just
Yeah.
like a second to like, even if you need to like set a little reminder or whatever, to be like, I'm in this moment and this is how I feel about all the people around me. I'm checking in with myself. And I think like out of all the moments in my life that experience has gone super fast, I can always like check back in that moment where I was like super present, where I was like, I can tell you exactly how I felt in that moment because I took that second to just like take it on.
I truly feel that way too about how, I mean, I would get in a little bit of trouble because, I would say I love you a little too early. But it's because I truly just felt this feeling
She's
of,
a love bomber.
yeah, oh, for sure. Well, and also just like, I remember like, we'd leave like a frat live out, be like, love you guys, bye. Certain people would be like, that's fucking weird. Like, why did she say I love you to all of them? I'm like, because I truly do like love and care for all of these people in this room. And if I got hit by a Mack truck, I don't want people to be like, how did she feel about me? It's like, that I loved you dearly. And that's how I just like live my life. And like, I think some people think it might be a little morbid that I'm like, okay, I love you just in case I or you die, but I just feel like that's the best way to move.
That is true. Okay, I have a last one. This one is when you're born in a burning house, you think the whole world is on fire, but it's not. I see this with a lot of people that were just like, and myself, if you were in a very like chaotic household or you've only had relationships that have been like toxic or abusive or whatever, you think that those are normal things, right? They're not. They're such good, like more simple, more peaceful things in life than like constant chaos. And sometimes, like, because I was so accustomed to chaos, I created chaos for myself. Sometimes I have to remind myself that life doesn't have to be like this, and this is a choice that I am making. That one's a big reminder for me.
The biggest gift you can give yourself is like breaking a generational curse. You can make different choices than your parents made to give yourself a better life. It's hard work. It's not easy. It can get dark and spooky and twisty, but it is the biggest gift that you'll ever give yourself is like breaking out of there's just so many things, like there's people that have parents that were just really fucking mad, parents that suffer from addiction, lots of different fucking things. There's like a million different things. Just not expressing love enough, whatever you want to do, like you can work on that. And like if you have kids and you pass on this like new way of moving in the world, and if you don't, it's spread to the people around you. And so no matter like how small or big your community is, like you can like make a huge difference in the world.
And I've noticed this in other people and like moments in myself where I've decided to change it. Like you can see it. Some people you meet their parents and you understand why they are the way they are. There was one person on TikTok that I heard is like, if you grew up with an angry man in your household, you're either gonna marry an angry man or you are the angry man. Which that's powerful because it's true. And I've met other people that I'm like, the way that they speak to others, I'm pretty sure is the way their dad speaks to them, and they haven't even realized that enough to want to change that in themselves. But then you meet people who recognize that there's these patterns in their families and they're like, we're not doing that. And I think for me, the biggest one has been like relationships in my families. There's people putting up with a lot of like toxic shit where I, was put in a situation where I could have kind of like entertained that. And I just remember staring at this person and being like, I don't want that for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want something to be good and pure since the beginning, and I don't want to deal with cheating and drama and all this bullshit when there doesn't have to be any. And like be the change you want to see in the world.
Uh, should we sing with the song? Should we end with the song? I'm looking, but no, but like I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. All right, y'all. You have to send us your favorite motivational quotes, your mantras, things that just keep you going. As always, thanks for being here this week. We loved having you. Send this to a friend, rate, review, and make sure you're subscribed if you're not. And you can find us on social media at thanks number 4 you're concerned. And I'm at Ella Tutor.
And I'm at Berenice Ideas M.
Bye.